Hello YouTube. I got another project gun. This time it's a Colt double action 45 US Army Revolver, as you can see right here. Okay, model 1917. And this video is going to be on the on the disassembly of this revolver, and I'm going to try to go as complete as possible on this disassembly. Okay. First and foremost, let's make sure that the firearm is unloaded. Okay. And I'll start this disassembly with removing the grips. Which is this one screw. Sorry, I'm getting in the way. Okay, screw comes out, and this side of the grip comes out, and then we can remove the other side. Okay, now we're going to remove the cylinder, and to remove the cylinder we need to take care of this crane lock screw and the pin. And you can see as you're turning the screw, the pin comes out because they're interlocked. I'll show you that in a second. So there's a little groove on the screw and a little groove on the pin, and that little protrusion in the screw, almost like a little washer, goes into the pin, into the slot in the pin. Okay. At this point, we can take the crane out, okay, of the frame. And I'll set the frame aside for now. To further disassemble the crane and cylinder, what you need to do is turn this cap off, which is pretty simple, and also we need to turn the ratchet off. Okay. And in order to turn the ratchet off, what I've decided to use, actually you should get a tool from Brownells or elsewhere that is made specifically for this ratchet, and it just has a similar hole in it. But what I'm going to use is 3 of these full moon clips. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just grab these clips with a wrench, okay, and then turn this ratchet off like so. Okay, making sure that it's actually that the ejector is not actually sitting in its slot. And the one thing you should note is there will be markings on the inside that will tell you exactly how the ratchet should be aligned to align properly with the cylinder. As you can probably see, let me zoom you in a little. Where did my zoom? There. As you can see, there are a couple of slots made, little cuts made into 2 of these legs, I guess, right? And you'll see that on the cylinder there are actually pins in 2 locations, and those pins are what kind of align into these little slots only on two legs. Okay, I can continue turning this by hand now. Still pretty tight, which is a good thing. I wouldn't want this to be loose. Okay, so there's the ratchet. We don't need this anymore. Okay, now you can see that on this side we can just pull the cylinder off, okay, and we'll have the crane assembly and the ejector rod. Okay, the cylinder is now completely disassembled. You can actually clean inside, do everything you want to do to it. Okay, and now if we look at the at this assembly, hopefully you'll see that there's a bushing inside. It has two cuts in it, and this bushing also requires a special tool for disassembly. Okay, and you can also get the special tool, but what I did was let me see if I can find my little tool. I'm not sure where I put it. Well, I basically used the smallest Allen wrench I could find because it was just thin enough to kind of get into that groove, and there it is. Nope. And turn this bushing. And because I've already done it, the bushing is kind of free, and I can turn it just with anything that I can put in that groove. Okay, I hope you can see that it's being turned right now. Okay, and then I can just continue by hand. There's that bushing. Okay. And now you have the spring, which you should be able to take out. And if it doesn't want to come out, there you go. If it doesn't want to come out, you just rotate the spring a little. Okay. The only thing left now is this cap, and since I've loosened it before, I can just take it off. You can actually use pliers and a little bit of leather and kind of wrap the leather around the rod on this side because it actually has some grooves, right? Use pliers, grab onto the leather and onto this side of the rod, and then also wrap this cap in leather, and then use another set of pliers to turn that off. Okay, now you can take the rod out, and that will complete the disassembly of the crane. Okay, now I'll zoom out, kind of move everything off to the side, and we'll begin disassembly of the frame. Okay, so right off the bat we see two screws for the side plate, and we're going to start unscrewing those. And it's important to keep these screws going back into the holes they came from. So I'm going to set the one that was in the back off to the right, and then when I take this one out, this one is going to go on the left. Okay. Now to take the side plate off, I'm just going to keep my finger over it just so it doesn't jump off, and I'll start tapping the frame just like that. And the side plate is now off. The latch came out. It just sits in here in these grooves in the side plate. Okay, and when it came out, you also see the spring in the side plate, so we'll take that out, kind of set it aside. There's nothing else you disassemble on the side plate. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Now we're going to start working on the internals. Okay, What I'm going to do first and foremost is grab my needle nose pliers, because these jaws are smooth, okay? And I don't think I'm going to mar the spring at all with these jaws. So I'm going to try to remove the mainspring right now, kind of in a way that you still see everything. So I'll pull on this side of the spring, I'll pull it down so that I can clear the stirrup, move the stirrup out of the way, and then expand the spring back. Okay? And at this point I can simply move the back side of the spring out and take it out of the frame, just like that. Okay? When that's done, you can take the hand out. Let's see, I'll use this to kind of get under and just lift it. It'll come out very easily when the spring is not applying pressure. The rebound lever has a little pin right here, which we'll need to knock out. And I'm going to do this while holding the revolver, basically, because my neighbors are asleep. And I'm going to try to make it so that you can still see what I'm doing. Hopefully you'll be able to see. Maybe just enough. Okay, well that's the pin you need to knock out. Sorry, I can't show you because I actually need to. Okay. So the pin is coming out, still not there yet. Okay. So just so you see, this is where that pin was. Okay. And that's that pin now. Okay. So the rebound lever, the easiest way to remove this is to actually push it back down out of its place here, out of its socket. Okay. All the way out, and then lift it out this way. Okay. Now you can take out the hammer. The most important thing here is to make sure that the firing pin clears the frame, and then you simply lift up on the hammer, okay, and lift it out of the frame. If you want to remove the stirrup here, there's a little pin on the other side. Well, there's a pin going all the way through, but it's visible only on one side in my pistol because the other side has been filed smooth. So this pin, if you remove it, let me zoom you in again. Okay. So there's the pin that you need to remove the stirrup. You can also drive out this pin to remove the sear. And make sure that if you do, you don't lose the spring that sits under it, because it's under spring tension. Okay? And finally, you can take out the firing pin, which also is retained by the firing pin. Okay? And it's kind of invisible because my hammer has been filed on both sides previously, I guess. And you can't see the pin, but it's right here. Okay. So once you if you really want to do this, you could take this apart even further. Okay. Now what we have here in the frame, remaining pieces are trigger, and I'm just gonna try to gently lift it out of its place. There you go. Okay. So trigger is out. There's nothing more you need to disassemble in the trigger. Sometimes this link will actually be kind of captured on this little pin on the other side of the trigger right here. Okay, and usually well, I'm not sure about usually, but my Python has it captured just like that. One side is actually thicker than the other, or one side of this opening is wider than the other, so it can only be removed in one spot. Okay, but on this one it just separates easily and freely. Okay, so you take out the trigger and the link, then you take out the cylinder lock. I think that's the name of the part, but that's that. Okay, you can take out the safety, which sits right here. We're just gonna kind of lift it out. Okay, and the very last part is the bolt, and the bolt has a spring right here, this little spring that you don't want to lose. So what I'm going to do is actually pry the spring out of its channel of the frame. Okay, like so. I don't know if you can tell, but the spring is now free on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to use a smaller bit screwdriver to unscrew this bolt, or the screw of the bolt. Oops, screwdriver slipped. Okay, that's that. There's that little screw. I'm gonna set it aside, and then I'm gonna push down on the bolt inside the frame right here. Okay, and it should come out on the bottom just like so. And you can then take out this little spring that sits inside the bolt, inside that little hole there. Okay, so that pretty much concludes the disassembly. If you want to take this further, for example, removing the lanyard loop, okay, there's a little pin right here on the frame. I hope you can see it this way. If you drive out this pin, this cylinder is the lanyard loop assembly basically, and this cylinder simply has a groove in one spot that this pin kind of rides in. So in order to take it out, you need to take out the pin, and then this whole assembly will come out. Okay, but I'm not going to do that simply because I don't need to. This is my I actually haven't done anything to this revolver yet, but it is a project revolver. That's why I bought it. What I'm going to try and do is restore it, refinish it, reblue it, and basically make it pretty again while learning some new skills. And I know that there are people out there that think I'm just destroying it by removing collector value, but I actually find more value in learning how to work on it rather than keeping it as is. So anyway, that's the complete disassembly, and then I will show you a complete reassembly of this revolver in part 2 of this video. Thank you.